One of the main things I wanted to do with this movie, besides making it funny and having an amazing cast, was to really have fun with the action and with the scope and with the special effects. Because it's 32 years after the original movie, and I wanted to reboot this for a new generation. And also, I'm just an action junkie. I love action, and we worked when we did Spy a couple of years ago. It was so much fun to do that level of stunts, and I thought this would be fun to bring that level of stunts to Ghostbusters, because for a modern age, when the original one came out, it was so cool to see them shoot the proton guns, but at the same time, 30 years later, I think you need to add more to that. The idea of having them actually in hand-to-hand combat with ghosts at some
Paul
point.
also likes to see if he can, the crazier stuff he pitches, how much I'll say yes to. And sadly, I always go, yeah,
Exactly.
I should do that. I should do that.
Except she wants to do all her stunts, and sometimes
Something's wrong with me. I'm always like, I should do that.
Yeah.
I should take that three-story fall.
Yeah.
I should do that.
I really wanted them to be in contact with the ghosts, and since ghosts are people who have died, thought, let's cast
And that's
actors.
what we're here to teach you today.
It's right, like
The story of ghosts.
Ghosts 101.
The origin.
But whenever they're interacting with a ghost, made sure to cast an actor who was in full makeup and in costume, and then we would just augment with them with CG, but it meant that they could have a more realistic performance.
Which made such a huge difference. Like the ghost, because I've talked to so many people about it, and they're like, "Oh, what was the tennis ball like?" And I'm like, "No, like the ghost in the subway in the beginning. He went through 6, 7, 8 hours of prosthetics, and it's someone, Dave." I've known Dave for years. I was in there I was in there watching him. I had no idea who it was. And it wasn't until he spoke that I was like, oh my God, I know who you are. But so when we were acting, like Paul, it was so great that he really put people in there that were fully dressed, makeup, prosthetics. It was a little creepy.
This is such a beloved franchise that people are very passionate about it, and we completely understand that. And especially when you hear somebody's going to do a reboot of a classic movie, it is a very natural instinct to be nervous about that. But all we ever ask is just watch the movie and base it on its own merits. And we knew we were doing something pretty special and with this amazing group. And you hear a lot of chatter, and you just go like, you know what? People will talk and people have these issues. Again, the work will speak for itself.
Everybody from the first movie is so excited that, they're in it. They've seen it. They loved it. They said they screamed it at like a sporting event. So that was the only kind of blessing I needed.
Yeah.
When I catch other people watching Paul and I talking, and then I realize they're looking at us like we're crazy because we don't speak in full sentences, and usually it's like, what if I, no, should I not, maybe I will, and like we're not really making sense, and somehow I'll just look over and there's like 5 crew guys like, what? And then I go, okay, got it. And somehow that's our note session, and I actually get information, but we're usually like 2 11-year-olds trying to make each other laugh.
Yeah, nobody laughs at our jokes more than we do. We think we're hilarious.
We've proven that on set. You do some talking before he comes in. You get yourself centered, and you're like, let's be respectful. And then he walks in, you're like, oh my God. That's just pretty to look at. But that strangely goes away very quickly because and I knew he was going to be nice. Everybody said, oh, he's such a great guy. He's so nice. You're going to love him. You're going to love him. No one mentioned that he was bizarrely funny, which I think is like, okay, I think you've got a couple extra scoops of good stuff, like you don't need any more. He was so funny and he was one of the best improvisers I've ever worked with, and I've been lucky enough to work with a lot of really funny guys. He just kind of blew us all away, and we had such a fun time with him that I'm proud of all of us that he just became Chris and we stopped being creepy, except for Leslie. Leslie continued to objectify us.
There's like handsome guy funny where you go, like a handsome guy walks in and he tells a joke, and you're like, oh, you're so funny, but it's kind of not that funny. I kind of thought, yeah, that's gonna be Chris. Like, he'll be handsome guy funny. And then he's like balls out funny, hilarious. So it really, as Melissa says, it's not fair. You can't look like that and be funny like that. And then he can sing too, right?
I know he did start singing. We were like talking about. We were like, he was trying to look up somebody. And we were talking about music, and I said, "What song is that?" He started singing it, and I was like, "Don't! For God's sakes, can you sing?" And he goes, "Well, I can carry a tune." I was like, "Just don't, because I'm going to pretend that you're terrible at something, or I'll hate you. So just shut it and don't sing, ever."
He knits a mean sweater, too.
Yeah, really.
I like the thing.
He made this dress.
What can't he do?
Hemsworth.
You Hemsworth.
Wow.